Good day, everyone. It's good to be with us again. In today's series, our greenhouse series, we're talking extensively about crop husbandry, general greenhouse management. But in today's video, we're focusing on the need for proper phytosanitary protocols and management in a conventional greenhouse. We understand that a greenhouse or a protected cultivation, as the word says, is a protected area, is a secluded area, just like you have in your theater, just like you have in your private rooms. If we're not careful how we manage what comes and goes into the greenhouse area, we will be dealing with a lot of infections, which is detrimental and overall harmful to the crops and overall results to loss of money and revenue. So it's important that we understand how best to manage movement of workers, movements of equipment, movements of staffs, movements of visitors within the vicinities of the greenhouse. The first things you need to know is that our hands, which we use to work in the greenhouses, are also regions where a lot of infections, particularly microbial infections, come into the greenhouse. You may be wondering how certain infections make it to the greenhouse. It's because you may have not been very careful with what goes into the greenhouse. And so at the Eco Farms, we have implemented some key phytosanitary protocol, and it starts with we, the farmers, it starts with you, the visitor, and it starts with everyone who has a contact with the farm. And so first thing first, we recommend that every individual working in the farm must, as a way of precaution, wash their hands all the way to their elbows before they walk in the farm. When they are done working in the farm and are going out, we recommend for their own safety that they wash their hands, because they may have come in contact with chemicals or other materials that will be detrimental to their health, and then at the end of the day, it impacts on the workforce of the farm. And so when you're washing your hands, you have to prepare a wash station. It must be a running water that is from a clean source, and then as little as a detergent or a soap. It's very important that you use these things and wash your wrist both behind and in the fronts of the palm. Once you do this, you've greatly reduced the visibility or potentials of infections going into the farm. The next thing we recommend is the foot bath. A foot bath, essentially, it's a provision made containing a detergent or a sanitizing solution. It could be a fungicide rich in mancozeb. It could be as simple as salt solution or a detergent. What this does is that when you go into the farm and come into the farm, it prevents infections from going into the farm, and possible from an already infested farm from infection coming out of the farm and then spreading within the farm area. And so we recommend that workers, for any reason, if they are going into the farm to work, that they dip their legs for a few seconds in the foot bath. It's important that the timing to which you spend allow your legs to dwell in the foot bath, it's key. It should be in a few seconds, but the depth of the foot bath is key. You should be able to come a little bit up the sole of your foot so that every infection around the shoe is properly taken off. And the other things we like to also talk around phytosanitary is that when farm workers, with human beings, go to ease themselves in restrooms, when they go out of the farm during break to have interactions with other people, it's important that when they come out of the restroom or come from these trips out of the farm, that they properly wash their hands. So you're not just washing your hands when you go into the farm or interact with the crop. You also wash your hands when you go to the restroom. You wash your hands when you go out to interact with other farmers. The other things are vehicles that bring supplies to the farm that come to fake materials or produce from the farm. These vehicles must have a region where they are limited to stay. If every vehicle that comes from wherever they come from and they can drive all through the farm, it's important to know that they carry weed seeds, they carry potential pathogens that could be hazardous to the farm, and they may carry other pests from other farms where they've gone to take materials and they come and deposit them in your farm. So it's important that these vehicles are made to park in a designated area far away from the farm. And so in continuation, the other key things you need to look at beyond the individuals working in the farm, beyond the vehicles coming to the farm, beyond the visitors coming into the farm, is your working tools, your pruning shears, your hose, your fumigating equipment. When you're talking phytosanitary, it's entirely on the health of the plants, the health of the individuals working in the farm, and importantly, the health of the end users. And so your equipment, is important that you properly sterilize them and sanitize them when you are done using them. In a situation where you are moving equipment that are common practice from one kit or one greenhouse to the other, it's also important that you are careful to properly sterilize and wash so that you're not transferring infections from one greenhouse to the other. It's best practice if there is an outbreak of a disease in a particular greenhouse that you isolate it and localize all its instruments to it. And if you must share, then it's important that you properly wash your pruning shears with mild detergents and, if possible, a bit of salt just to sterilize. Allow them to properly dry before you use them. One key practice that has been very dangerous in the farm, we have seen in the practice, is sharing knapsacks. Knapsacks are those containers we carry on our backs in the farm, mix our herbicides or insecticides or other agrochemicals to spray in the farm. If you're managing a nursery, for example, and you are not careful to have a dedicated knapsack to the nursery, what will happen is that the residues of the previous chemical you sprayed, which may not be for the nursery, will go in and harm the young plants. And the residue of the knapsack you've sprayed in the open field, say for example you spray the herbicide and you have no business spraying herbicide in your young tomato seedlings or your growing peppers, and you do not have a dedicated knapsack for, say, fumigation, and then you are mixing with that for herbicide application, you are sure to burn off your crops. So depending on the economic resources in your farm, you may have dedicated knapsacks for every greenhouse, but if you can't, ensure that after each activity you properly wash, properly label which is for each. You may even have knapsacks dedicated for herbicide application, knapsack dedicated for insecticide application. That still reduces the number of knapsacks you need in the farm, but it helps dedicate each. And so this is where we close the video series, video teaching on phytosanitary protocols. Please send in your questions. We'll be happy to send in our replies or have a dedicated agronomist reply to you. Thank you.